Claude Code just got a Life OS. Personal AI Infrastructure is Daniel Miessler's open source repo for turning Claude Code into a personalized operating layer with memory, goals, skills, hooks, voice, and a dashboard. The bigger idea is that stronger agents make raw access less scarce. The harder part becomes giving the assistant enough context to know what you want, what matters, and what a good result looks like.
The repo treats AI as something that needs a personal operating layer, not just a chat window. PAI stores who you are, what you are working toward, what you have learned, and which tools your assistant can use. That context then surrounds each session. A model can be powerful and still feel generic. PAI tries to make the system specific to the person running it. The repo is already moving fast. The live GitHub API shows 13.7K stars, 1.9K forks, TypeScript as the primary language, and an MIT license. The latest release is version 5.0.0, published on May 13, 2026. The repo was pushed again on May 12th, so this is not an old idea page. It is an active system with a large public release. PAI is aimed at people who already live in coding agents, notes, project files, research tabs, and daily planning. For them, the problem is not only getting an answer. The problem is keeping the assistant aligned with the work over time. The repo's answer is to make the human the center of the system and let the tools orbit around that person. The central interface is a named digital assistant. During setup, the system creates identity files for the principal and for the assistant. It also asks for TLOS, which is the repo's name for mission, goals, beliefs, wisdom, challenges, and operating preferences. That matters because the assistant is not supposed to restart from zero every morning. It should know the person it is helping. Pulse is the visible and operational surface. It runs as a unified daemon, serves the dashboard at localhost port 31337, handles voice notifications, runs hooks, records observability, and manages scheduled work. In older versions, several of those jobs were separate services. In V5, Pulse pulls them into one place so the assistant can see and report what is happening. The algorithm is the repo's execution loop. It starts with current state, works toward ideal state, and moves through observe, think, plan, build, execute, verify, and learn. A classifier picks the mode and effort tier for each prompt. For simple work, it can stay light. For larger work, the system asks for a stronger definition of done before it starts pushing files around. The ISA is one of the more practical ideas in the repo. It is the ideal state artifact, a working file that describes what done means. Instead of a loose prompt, larger tasks get criteria, constraints, test strategy, decisions, and verification. That gives the assistant a target it can refine as it works. It also gives the human something concrete to review. The memory system is deliberately plain. The README says Paul avoids RAG and uses Markdown, cross-references, and fast file system search instead. Memory is separated by purpose. Work captures active task state. Knowledge holds durable notes. Learning stores patterns from what went well or poorly. That makes the system readable with normal tools, which is a strong choice for personal infrastructure. PAI also ships a large skills and hook system. V5 lists 45 public skills, 171 workflows, and 37 hooks. The important detail is how the repo thinks about skills. A skill is not only a prompt. The hierarchy prefers code first, then a command line interface, then workflows, then a skill.md file that routes the agent. That pushes important work toward repeatable execution. The README gives a good feel for the size of the system. It starts with the Life OS thesis, then moves into principles, features, install steps, packs, frequently asked questions, and the update history. The install path is intentionally direct, but the repo also warns that V5 is a major system change from V4. That is a sensible warning. This repo does not behave like a tiny config pack. Setup is built around a one-line installer. It checks bun, git, and Claude Code, backs up an existing .claude folder, asks about voice, registers pulse, and runs validation. After install,
The important step is the interview. That is where your assistant learns your mission, goals, preferences, and identity. The software install is fast. The personalization step is where the system becomes yours. Version 5.0.0 is the main release to understand. It changes PayEye from scaffolding around Claude Code into a life operating system with a named assistant, the Pulse daemon, the algorithm, the ISA primitive, and containment-based release tooling. It also ships as a large public package. The release notes list 1,642 files and a 58.9 megabyte release size. The security model deserves attention because this is personal infrastructure. The public repo is a sanitized version of a private system. PAI uses containment zones to separate public files from user files, memory, private skills, credentials, and local paths. The release tooling runs gates before publishing. For a repo that touches identity, goals, and personal memory, that boundary is not a bonus feature. It is core engineering. Compared with a folder of prompts, PAI is more complete. Compared with an enterprise assistant platform, it is more personal and more inspectable. The strong choices are local files, TypeScript and shell scripts, Claude Code hooks, and a dashboard you can run on your machine. The trade is that you accept more moving parts. In return, you get a system that can be inspected, changed, backed up, and forked.
There are real constraints. The platform document says macOS and Linux are fully supported, while Windows is not supported yet. The repo is Claude Code native by design. The README also warns that the project is moving quickly and may break across upgrades. Those are acceptable constraints if you want to experiment with a serious personal AI system. They matter if you need something boring and stable. The second-order effect matters more than the setup script. If assistants can read your history, goals, open work, preferences, and past decisions, then work changes shape. You spend less time re-explaining the same background. You spend more time asking the precise question, correcting the target, and deciding what should happen next. PAI is early, but it is pointed at that future. So the simplest read is this. Personal AI infrastructure is an attempt to make Claude Code personal, persistent, and operational. It gives the assistant identity, memory, skills, hooks, a dashboard, and a way to reason from current state to ideal state. The repo is opinionated, and that opinion is useful. Personal agents need durable context, visible state, and reviewable files. If you use coding agents every day, this repo is worth studying, even if you only copy the patterns. For more GitHub repo deep dive videos, subscribe to Build Things with AI.